Canelo might have lost the boxing bout against Terence Crawford, but in the paychecks battle, he won by knockout. Canelo Álvarez earned a staggering $150 million. One night, one fight, a payday that dwarfs most boxers' entire careers. But the question isn't how he earned it, it's where it went. Did Canelo pour it into mansions, cars, and watches? Did he expand his business empire? And how did he suddenly lose half of it? His current money moves are the result of his tough beginnings. Let me explain. As a teenager, Canelo turned professional at just 15 years old. His first professional fights brought in tiny amounts, maybe $50 here, $200 there. But with every victory, his reputation grew. By the time he reached the national stage in Mexico, fight purses grew to thousands, then tens of thousands. Compared to where he started, it was already life-changing. But those numbers pale in comparison to the $150 million he pocketed in 2025 against Terence Crawford. Imagine the contrast. From scraping by in the early 2000s to wiring more than most athletes will ever see in their lifetime into his bank account after one fight. And this wasn't even in victory. Even in defeat, Canelo commanded a payday bigger than most fighters could dream of. That's the kind of financial power only the very top of the sport can reach. But it didn't happen overnight. Canelo's rise to wealth came from years of steady paydays, careful career decisions, and his unique ability to draw massive crowds in both Mexico and the United States. By the time he faced Floyd Mayweather in 2013, he was already earning millions. But back then, no one knew just how high his ceiling would go. Because the $150 million wasn't just a paycheck, it was the end result of a career built fight by fight, payday by payday, from the streets of Guadalajara to the global stage. Canelo's rise in boxing wasn't just about wins, it was about becoming Mexico's national hero, the man who carried an entire country's fighting spirit on his shoulders. With every victory, his star power grew. By his early 20s, he was headlining cards, filling arenas, and drawing millions of pay-per-view buys. That translated directly into money. The fight against Floyd Mayweather in 2013 was a turning point. Canelo lost, but he earned a reported $12 million purse, his first 8-figure payday. For perspective, that's more money in one night than he had earned in his entire early career combined. Even in defeat, he learned something vital. Canelo's ability to generate revenue was just as powerful as his ability to land punches. From there, the money only grew. Victories over fighters like Miguel Cotto, Erislandy Lara, and Amir Khan brought him purses in the $5 to $10 million range, with pay-per-view splits pushing the totals higher. Fans began to realize that Canelo wasn't just another champion. He was the sport's future, and sponsors took notice too. Deals with Under Armour, Everlast, and Tecate poured in, further padding his bank account. By the late 2000s, Canelo had become the biggest draw in boxing, surpassing even legends in popularity and earnings. His fight against Gennady Golovkin in 2017 marked another leap. The first fight generated over $27 million in purse money for Canelo, plus millions more in pay-per-view revenue. Suddenly, his career earnings were skyrocketing into 9 figures. And yet, the story always circles back to 2025. Even with these massive purses, nothing compares to the historic $150 million he collected against Terence Crawford. That one night eclipsed nearly every other payday in his career combined. Because once you've reached that level, the question isn't whether you're rich, it's how you handle wealth most athletes will never even see. The years after Mayweather and Cotto cemented Canelo Álvarez as boxing's biggest star. Every fight became a mega event. His trilogy with Gennady Golovkin alone earned him over $100 million in combined purses, with each fight generating hundreds of millions in pay-per-view sales. Fans weren't just tuning in to watch boxing. They were tuning in to watch Canelo. Then came the historic DAZN deal in 2018, a contract worth $365 million over 11 fights, the largest in sports history at the time. Although the deal ended early, it revealed just how much value Canelo brought to broadcasters. Even a platform like DAZN, desperate to make its mark, was willing to bet nearly $500 million on his star power. For Canelo, that meant guaranteed riches, regardless of opponent. By the time he fought Caleb Plant in 2021 to become the undisputed super middleweight champion, he earned around $40 million between purses and PPV splits. add fights against Dimitri Bivol, Billy Joe Saunders, and other high-profile names, and Canelo was consistently raking in $30 to $50 million per fight. It wasn't just money, it was empire-building wealth. And yet, even with those staggering numbers, the fight against Terence Crawford in 2025 was on another level. Reports placed his guaranteed earnings at $150 million, dwarfing even the DAZN deal's single-fight averages. It was the kind of payday that belongs to only a handful of athletes in history. Here's the question that hooks fans. When you've already bought mansions, supercars, and businesses, what do you do with another $150 million? Did Canelo add to his empire of Beverly Hills estates, Bugattis, and tequila brands? Or did he funnel it into hidden investments that quietly secure his fortune long after boxing? Because while $150 million is history-making, the real story isn't how Canelo earned it. It's what he did next. When Canelo Álvarez stepped into the ring against Terence Crawford in 2025, the spotlight wasn't just on the belts or the rivalry, it was on the money. For weeks leading up to the bout, headlines buzzed about how massive the payday would be. And when the dust settled, even in defeat, Canelo walked away with an astonishing $150 million. That number is staggering, even in the world of combat sports. For context, Floyd Mayweather made around $100 million for fighting Conor McGregor, and Manny Pacquiao took home about $120 million for his bout with Mayweather. Canelo's purse for Crawford put him not only in that elite company, but above most of them. He had secured one of the largest single-fight paydays in boxing history, a sum that cemented his financial legacy as much as his titles did his boxing legacy. But here's the twist. Money like this doesn't all go straight into the fighter's pocket. Taxes in both the US and Mexico could take 35 to 40%, slicing as much as $60 million right off the top. Managers, trainers, and promotional partners claim another 10 to 15%. By the time the dust clears, Canelo may have netted closer to $75 to $80 million. Still a fortune, but less than the headline number. The curiosity comes in what he did with it. Did he channel it into his already sprawling empire of businesses and real estate? Did he add another hypercar to his legendary garage? Or did he simply leave much of it to grow quietly in investments and trusts? That's where the tension lies. Fans see the surface, the Bugattis, the Beverly Hills mansions, the multi-million-dollar watch collection. But when $150 million lands in your account in one night, how do you decide what's for luxury and what's for legacy? Because this wasn't just a fight purse, it was a once-in-a-lifetime financial windfall. And the spending trail tells us more about who Canelo is than the fight itself. One of the clearest signs of Canelo Álvarez's fortune is his real estate empire. Long before his $150 million Crawford payday, Canelo was already living like a king. He has owned multiple luxury estates across Mexico and the United States, each one reflecting a different chapter of his wealth. In Guadalajara, Mexico, his hometown, Canelo owns a sprawling compound complete with training facilities, a private ranch, and luxury amenities. This estate is more than just a home. It's a statement of loyalty to his roots. For Canelo, Guadalajara isn't just where he came from. It's where he continues to invest millions, solidifying his place as a local icon. Across the border, Canelo has been tied to properties in San Diego, California, and most famously, a $15 million mansion in Beverly Hills. This Beverly Hills estate boasted nearly 12,000 square feet of living space, panoramic views of Los Angeles, an infinity pool, and every luxury detail you can imagine. Although he reportedly sold it in 2022, the property revealed the level of wealth Canelo was operating at even before the Crawford fight. Then there's the talk of his real estate flips. Like many athletes who understand wealth preservation, Canelo has been known to buy high-value properties, renovate them, and sell them at a profit. With the $150 million payday from 2025, fans speculate whether he expanded this side of his empire even further. After all, even a fraction of that money could easily acquire multiple luxury estates across prime markets in Mexico, California, or even Miami. Real estate for Canelo isn't just about comfort, it's about stability. Mansions can be enjoyed, but they also act as long-term assets that grow in value. That's the brilliance of his empire. For every flashy property, there's a financial strategy behind it. And with $150 million in hand, there's no question that at least part of it went straight into bricks and mortar. But houses, no matter how lavish, don't move. Cars do, and Canelo's garage is where his fortune shines brightest. If you really want to see where Canelo Álvarez's fortune goes, you don't look at his bank account. You look at his garage and his wrists. Canelo has one of the most extravagant car collections in boxing, rivaling even Floyd Mayweather. And with a $150 million payday from the Crawford fight, the possibilities for expansion were endless. At the center of his collection sits a Bugatti Chiron, valued at around $3 million. Few athletes in the world own one, and it's a clear sign of Canelo's elite status. Alongside it are Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Rolls-Royces, and Mercedes-Benz supercars. His taste ranges from raw speed to refined luxury, and every car is a headline purchase. Fans speculated that with the Crawford purse, Canelo could have easily added another hypercar, perhaps even a limited edition Bugatti or Ferrari valued at $5 to $10 million. But it doesn't stop with cars. Canelo's watch collection is equally insane. He's been spotted wearing Richard Mille timepieces worth upwards of $1 million each, along with Rolexes, Audemars Piguet, and Patek Philippe. Each watch isn't just jewelry, it's an investment, with many models increasing in value over time. Did some of that $150 million go into expanding this collection? Almost certainly. Canelo also indulges in lifestyle toys beyond cars and watches, private jets, luxury yachts, and designer fashion. While not all are publicly documented as owned, the lifestyle is consistent with someone earning at his level. The Crawford fight money only magnified this, giving him freedom to add to his luxuries without denting his long-term financial security. And yet, even with all the flash, there's discipline in his choices. Canelo's cars and watches may look like wild spending, but they double as status symbols and appreciating assets. That balance is why he's not just spending, he's curating wealth. Still, Canelo's true empire isn't in garages or closets. It's in the businesses he's built behind the scenes, where the real power of that $150 million payday comes to life. Canelo Álvarez isn't just a boxer, he's a businessman in every sense of the word. While the world focuses on his $150 million payday against Terence Crawford, the truth is that his wealth didn't start with fight purses. It started when he realized that a fighter's career is short, but a business empire can last forever. One of his most successful ventures is Canelo Promotions, a company he launched to promote boxing events, particularly in Mexico. By creating his own promotional outfit, Canelo cut out the middleman and began profiting not only from his fights, but from those of rising fighters under his banner. Every show adds to his revenue, ensuring that his name earns money even when he isn't stepping into the ring. Then there's his surprising investment in gas stations across Mexico. Yes, gas stations. At first glance, it might seem like an unusual choice for a superstar athlete. But think about it. Fuel is essential, it's recession-proof, and it generates steady cash flow. For Canelo, gas stations are more than businesses. They're long-term anchors of financial security. Analysts estimate he owns dozens, potentially worth tens of millions combined. Real estate has also played a massive role. Beyond his luxury mansions, Canelo reportedly owns commercial properties, land, and residential developments. These aren't just vanity purchases. They're assets designed to grow in value for decades. With $150 million fresh from the Crawford fight, it's easy to imagine a large portion being funneled back into these holdings, expanding his footprint across Mexico and the US, and then there's his stake in the tequila business. Canelo followed the path of celebrities like George Clooney and The Rock by investing in the booming alcohol industry. Tequila, especially premium brands, is one of Mexico's most profitable exports. By tying his image as Mexico's biggest star to tequila, he ensures that even when he's retired, his brand will keep generating money worldwide. Put it all together, and you see the strategy. Canelo's fight purses fuel the empire, but the businesses keep it alive long after he takes off the gloves. The $150 million from Crawford wasn't just a prize, it was reinvestment capital. Still, businesses aren't the full story. The most intriguing part of Canelo's fortune is hidden in what we call his twist asset, the thing most fans don't even know exists. Every superstar has a financial move that surprises people. For Floyd Mayweather, it was strip clubs and promotional companies. For Conor McGregor, it was whiskey. For Canelo Álvarez, the twist asset lies in areas you'd never expect from a fighter. And this is where the $150 million Crawford payday becomes even more interesting. Canelo has reportedly invested in agriculture, particularly in avocado farms and other produce exports in Mexico. While it may sound simple, agriculture in Mexico is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Avocados, in particular, are referred to as green gold. For Canelo, putting money into farmland means buying into stability. Land appreciates in value, produce generates constant demand, and it ties his fortune directly back to the soil of his home country. There are also whispers of investments in tech and digital ventures. Canelo is a global brand, and digital platforms that connect athletes with fans are booming. Whether through startups in Latin America or silent partnerships in international companies, it's possible that a portion of that Crawford purse was allocated into assets far less flashy than Bugattis, but potentially far more profitable. Then there's family wealth planning. Canelo has 4 children, and like many disciplined millionaires, he's thought ahead. Setting up trusts, diversified investment accounts, and long-term funds ensures that his kids inherit not just money, but generational wealth. This is the side of Canelo fans rarely see. It doesn't come with Instagram posts or luxury showcases, but it reflects the real financial intelligence of a man who's made hundreds of millions and doesn't plan to lose it. What makes this twist asset so compelling is that it reflects 2 sides of Canelo: the superstar who buys Bugattis and the strategist who buys farmland, the fighter who shows off his Richard Mille and the father who quietly secures his children's futures. That balance is what separates broke athletes from legends who build dynasties. But the real question remains: when the dust settled on that $150 million fight purse, where did every dollar actually go? That's where the final breakdown reveals the truth. Here's the raw reality of fight purses. Canelo Álvarez earned $150 million against Terence Crawford in 2025. But by the time everyone takes their cut, the number looks very different. First, taxes. Between U.S. federal, state, and Mexican obligations, as much as 40% is gone. That's $60 million off the top. Next are trainers, managers, and his camp. A fighter's team typically claims 10 to 15%. That's another $15 million. Suddenly, the $150 million headliner shrinks to around $75 million net. Still enormous, but half the headline number. So where does it go? Based on Canelo's spending history and empire, here's a realistic breakdown. $25 million into real estate, expanding his already massive property holdings in Guadalajara, San Diego, and possibly new U.S. hubs. $10 million into cars, watches, and luxury lifestyle toys, because even disciplined athletes celebrate historic nights. $25 million into businesses, fueling Canelo Promotions, expanding his gas station network, and doubling down on tequila investments. $10 million into agriculture and twist assets, like farms and potential tech ventures. $15 million into family wealth planning, trusts, funds, and generational assets for his children. The result? Canelo didn't just take home $150 million. He strategically split it into an empire that secures him for life and positions his family for generations of wealth. And that's what makes Canelo unique. For some fighters, one payday is a chance to splurge. For him, it's another building block in a fortress of wealth. Even in defeat, his empire grew stronger. Because in boxing, belts can be lost. But $150 million, wisely used, can build a legacy that never fades.